Welcome to Rebuilding with Shelley Armato, a show dedicated to showcasing strong and resilient leaders and individuals from all walks of life. Join us as we explore inspiring stories from all around the world. Here's your host, Shelley Armato.
Welcome. This is Shelley Armato. I'm the CEO of MySmartPlans and co-founder. And today, oh my gosh, you might have seen this before on our website. So I'm interviewing my business partner and my husband, Dominick Armato. So just a little introduction for Dominick. So Dominick was the largest commercial painting contractor in Kansas City for 100 years. I'm making that up. I mean, like 40 some years. He started when he was 8. He'll tell you the whole story. It sounds so like, oh, you were so challenged as a child. At 8, you started working and you played college football. And then only to find out that he loved what he did. He loved his industry. He loved his work. He loves to bring people into Kansas City and say, or the state capitol, or I don't even know, New York. I mean, he's done projects all across the country, but he loves to say, oh, well, I did this and I did that. So anyway, I said, Dominick, I need to fly to Dallas. We're going to start a podcast series and I need you to be one of my guests. And so Dominick, he likes details. Okay. Are you getting me? He really likes details. He's like a detail guy. So welcome, Dominick.
Thank you, Shelley. I appreciate you.
No, he doesn't.
That's true.
Oh, you do appreciate me?
I do appreciate you.
Okay. Anyway, so as you can tell, probably that am I the talker of the family?
You can talk.
Yeah. And you are the...
I guess I listen to see where this is going.
Yes, you're very much into details. Like we got off the elevator in the building and he goes, Shelley, go left. And I went right. And he was like, I said left. Well, I will get there. I'll get where I'm going, right? I mean, I'm going to get where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes I just take the long way around.
That's right.
So you're there to yeah.
Yeah, sort of like I'm going west instead of east.
Right.
Yeah.
That is about my gas gauge on my car. One time I asked him for directions and I said, Dominick, I am going east. And he said, no, Shelley, tell me again. And what's around you? I tell him, he goes, you're definitely going west. And so I looked down at my gauge of my gas meter and I was going to empty.
50 miles to E, meaning empty.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a problem.
It's a little detail.
Yeah, it's a little detail. So when God was making us, he's like, you know what? Let me give her a piece of this mustard seed and then I'm going to split it up and give it to you because we're definitely the yin to each other's yang.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love talking about courage because, that's my thing, courage. I love talking about construction. I love talking about technology. I love talking about entrepreneurship. But I want to hear from you what it felt like when you came home and you said, hey, Shelley, this is what's going on. What did you feel in your industry after how many ever years? What did you feel?
Well, I felt a little bit of, how do I explain this to you in a way that just...
That I'm not going to kill you?
Well, not that you're going to kill me, but how do you explain that, when you get a job, you're really at the crap table, honestly.
Yeah.
Without gambling. But
in the construction industry.
Yeah, because you gamble by your bid. And your bid has got to be low bid to get a job.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to make the money or a profit so that you can sustain your business. Yeah. It's difficult.
Yeah. And so that's why I call you a genius. Hello. You're a genius. You did that for how many years?
47.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we speak sometimes when we're talking about your courage that it took at 19 years old to buy your dad's business. It was a garage and it was really a residential painting company. They did some small commercial things, but you went on to build Kansas City. I mean, like you are the guy in Kansas City that is still Mr. Kansas City. We still go in restaurants and people say, hey, Dominick.
How about Walls Drug?
Right. We were in North Dakota. Where were we? South Dakota. One of those Dakotas. And we're in Walls Drug. And we had been driving because we had our marriage counseling session driving to because we're like, let's just talk it out. So we got in our little SSR Chevy truck, yellow truck, put the top down, and I probably complained all the way to where, like, Dakota line.
It was only 10 hours.
Yeah. Anyway, so we stop in Wall Drug, and we're in there, and we're, now
we get out of the car.
Yeah, we get out of the car, and we hear from across the street, "Hey,
Dominick." And it was Sturgis week.
Yeah.
And there was 10,000 motorcycles.
Yeah.
And who would know me?
Or what about in New York? I mean, we've been in the airport in New York before, and we hear, "Hey, Dominick."
It's sort of that way.
Well, we were just somewhere else the other day. Where were we? And somebody yelled, "Hey, Dominick."
We were walking towards the Chiefs Arrowhead.
Oh, right. We were going to the football game. Like, out of the middle. I mean, there was a million people, and out of the middle of nowhere, we hear this, "Hey, Dominick." So when we started our business in 2006, Dominick came to me and said, "Hey," you still didn't give me the whole story at this point. You're just like, "You know what? I got this really good idea. I think you should open a woman-owned blueprint company because you'll get all these contracts because you are a, quote, woman." And I wrote a check for $15,000. I didn't ask any questions, of course, because I'm not the question girl. And we started realizing what you had been dealing with, right? It was kind of like when they tore the veil.
Sort of like tearing the veil.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. And then you started realizing what was really going on. And
yeah, it's a cutthroat type of business. But, some people are ethical, but most of the people in that business become unethical.
Yeah. Well, I think we call that document manipulation is what we've uncovered. Document manipulation.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So here we are today, 15 years later. And we could have never, we could have never written a business plan for where we are. I mean, it was unscribable, really, into what we've done and where we've grown, and unbelievable. But I love the one story. So one of our very first projects was a non-nuclear facility, what is it? NNSA?
Yes. National.
Yeah, national. See, he's got the details.
Nuclear Security
Administration. Yeah. So I came into the office because I was the only salesperson. And I said, "Hey, babe, we're going to do this $1 billion project." And they're like, no. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. And I'm like, I didn't ask you the details. I'm going to go build this facility with our technology. We're going to radically transform this project. And anyway, Dominick was just, I swear, you know what? I think he would have done good with like a sweat rag.
Well,
like the NFL, they have the players, they have those towels on them. I should get you one. So when you're sweating, because I'm telling you what I'm going to do, you can be like, "I'm sweating right now. Hang on just a second. Let me grab my sweat rag." Okay. Wipe off the sweat. Now, what are we doing, Shelley? Oh, yeah. We're going to build this non-nuclear facility. It's $1 billion. I don't have all the details, but you can figure that out. And
well, you casted with a minnow, but caught a whale.
I think that's a compliment.
It is a compliment, but it was hellacious to get that damn whale in the boat.
Yeah. Well, it was just like, this is what we're going to do. We are going to transform the construction industry. It's not going to be easy. We have definitely been disparaged. Have we had some stuff?
We've had some, multiple things in the 15 years. Yeah. Good and bad.
Yeah. But I think the beautiful thing is that we've learned that even with the bad, there's a gift, right?
True.
Yeah, because even when we feel like we're at the end of our rope, we figured out that, we just tie a knot and we cast another rope. That's what we've done.
You climb higher.
Yeah. That's true. So I'm also thinking about, so when we started our business, we started with $15,000. We've bootstrapped our company for 15 years, the technology space that's unheard of. And the way we've done it is a grassroots effort. We have literally, if our product didn't work, we couldn't do it. Right. If we didn't have like state of the art, the best, we could never do it. But we do. And we are. And we have, like today, we presented to it's $1.5 billion. And some of our projects are a lot bigger than that. But this is $1.5 billion. And the guy's like, "Well, I'm familiar with all these other technologies. And so what do you guys have?" right?
Yeah, we have a human APIs with those other technologies companies don't
Exactly. We also have the ability to make sure that everything is there. So our audits and everything that we do to make sure that the subcontractors are actually able to do their job. Because, I mean, a lot of subcontractors also have to try to manipulate documents to make their money because they had to be low bid and they didn't have the right documents they needed to be low bid, but they didn't know because they had to be low bid because it's the old way of doing business instead of fair play, right? Like fair bid.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So I think about when we started and I said, Dominick, I'm going to go buy a new building. We had never owned commercial real estate. And we went and what happened?
Bought a 10,000 square foot building with 4 employees.
Yeah. And so I walked in and I met the owner. I'm like, listen, you don't know me. I know you don't know me, but listen, we're going to go ahead and buy your building for considerably less than you're asking for it. Not that we don't think it's worth more. It's just that that's not in our budget right now because we've only been doing this for like a year, right? Was it a year?
About 18 months.
Yeah. So anyway, so here's Mr. Certainty beside me. And he's like, wait a minute. We're going to do what? I mean, are you telling this guy we're going to buy this building because... And I'm like, let me figure it out. Just sit here beside me because sometimes being a woman in this industry, I do need a man to sit beside me, as sick as that sounds, but it's true. And so I told the guy, listen, we're going to buy a building today. I was kind of blowing the bluff. It can be your building or another building. It doesn't really matter. So Dominick gets in the car and he's like, did you know that guy? I said, no, I didn't know him, but we're going to buy his building. What happened?
We bought the building.
Yes, we bought the building. Well, I mean, the circumstances for the seller, it was actually a godsend that we walked in and bought the building. And we told him, like, you have to leave all of your desks and everything because we don't have any desks. And he left all of his desks. But thinking about that place and starting at that place and that many years ago, what was your biggest fear?
Well, at that time, it was probably not knowing the business on the technology side was my biggest fear, I guess.
Yeah. What happened?
We got some great employees that really did a great job that eased those fears.
Yeah. Well, you also had to learn to trust, right?
Yeah, it was trust. But again, they just reassured you that they knew what they were doing. So something that the unknown became the known.
Yeah. Well, you know what I love is the fact that I always say getting in the room, you know, like you can learn any industry if you're in the room. Like if you are in the room, meaning you're around experts or people that understand the industry and you learn their language, right? Because that's really what we did. We just put ourselves in the room. And I still don't like doing demos because I still am not very technical, but I love setting up the appointments and I love telling the story about how we started our business.
You're a great storyteller, Shelley.
Yeah. And then I'm like, and let me let you talk to this guy of 47 years in the industry.
Yeah, that knowledge was not fearful because understanding how projects were ran and executed, that wasn't the hard part. It was the back end, knowing how to build that into the technology along with the people doing the job of grabbing the information and sharing the information. That was our biggest challenge. But today, 1,700 projects later and about $19 billion in construction value, I think we've conquered that fear.
Yeah. I love whenever somebody says something to us like, well, you know, you guys are like a mom and pop organization. And we say to them, have you seen our resume? Because even McDonald's started as a mom and pop, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Ray Kroc, excuse me, we can do this because we've been doing it. But it's the courage also. So what I'm learning, because our technology provides the platform for complete transparency and accountability, there's a lot of people that don't have the leadership skills to be able to handle those hard conversations because this brings you into the realm of hard conversations.
Yeah, it does. And it really eliminates the guy from hiding from his mistake, too. Because the transparency of the information and the accountability of that information allows those people either to execute or be held accountable for their failure.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, I mean, even if it is a challenge that they would identify as failure, it's still worth a legitimate conversation with facts instead of finger pointing.
Well, yeah. On the other side, in a competitive market, somebody being 30 or 40% below what the normal market should be, there's something wrong.
Yeah. Well, and you know what I love? It used to be whenever we started the company, so you still had Northeast Painting and it was still a thing. And I was behind the scene. I was running this company doing this. And then you would come over in the afternoon and I would give you a report. Oh, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, whatever. Anyway, but our Saturday mornings were still going to the job site until, when did you close Northeast Painting?
March of 2010.
Yeah.
2010.
So I had been in business for 4 years doing my thing. Oh my God, doing my thing. And anyway, so our Saturday mornings were Dominick taking me, it took me a while to figure this out. But Dominick would say, hey, babe, you want to go to breakfast? And every Saturday morning I would say, he is the sweetest husband ever, because he would take me to the best breakfast places. Like, I'm thinking, how did he find You Say Tomato or wherever he's taking me? Because he loves me so much. That's why. Not true. Go ahead. What's the truth?
It was close to a job. I had to check the job on a Saturday because you have people working on overtime. So we would have breakfast and then I'd go to the job.
Yeah, you would say, hey, babe, you know what? I'm doing this hospital over here, or I'm doing Union Station, or I'm doing this casino. Do you want to go see it? And I would say, every week I would fall for it. And finally I realized, I'm like, holy cow, he is a master at getting me to go to these places thinking that I am being adored, but actually it's him doing his job.
Yeah.
I mean, you were the master at figuring that out. But I love what?
No, go ahead.
No.
You love the French toast.
Yes, I do.
At Bluebird.
Oh, God, I love the French toast, yes. Yes, I do. Okay, I do. It's truth. But no, I'm thinking about all the times. I remember one time that you had bid a project and somebody was low bid, like by $50,000. And the words that came out of your mouth, we all would probably be able to identify that were...
Yeah, they weren't proper.
It was not proper English. It was very...
Yeah, they were vulgar. Let's just use that word.
But it was your safety. It was what you thought... You had missed something. Like, how would they, same project, same trade, same everything, how would they be 50,000 low? And so your answer would always be, they're going to bank on the change order. They have to bank on the change order. So we're not doing that anymore.
No.
Well, because we're not bidding anything.
And sometimes you pass and play, and sometimes you punt. And on that project, if you recall, that contractor had 800 doors that he had screwed up.
Mm-hmm. And what happened?
Well, I guess he ate a lot of doors or used it for firewood to heat his house, but he bought 800 doors that he had screwed up.
And who finished the job?
He finished the job because I wouldn't get in the middle of it.
Oh, but they called you to come in.
Yeah, they wanted my opinion, and I gave him my famous saying, good beef isn't cheap, and cheap beef isn't good.
Yeah. Well, also, whenever you finally closed Northeast Painting, and I used a word that totally offended you. It starts with a C. What's that word?
Corruption?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
I said you should be a...
Oh, that word. A consultant.
Oh my God, he was to the moon.
Oh, yeah.
He was just like, who would want to know what I know? I'm like, you are ridiculous. So what happens now?
I'm a consultant.
Yeah. So he gets phone calls. Hey, Dominick, yeah, I have a question about whatever it is about the paint. And I say, no, what's your PayPal number? Because he's not talking for free. Who has 47 years experience that they can ask you a question and you have an answer like well, I've heard some of your answers sometimes. It's just like, only you would know this.
That's true.
Yeah, only you would know this. Like the casino that you painted that was 1,100 colors.
Had a few.
Who knows all those colors still?
I do.
Yeah. So what happened when the casino called you recently and said, hey, Dominick, we need your intelligence to come whatever, and you said, no, I'm either doing this part of the contract or you're going to redo the contract. You're going to redo the work that the contractor did.
That's right.
And
And I redid it.
Exactly. But I mean, the game changed, right?
It pretty much does.
Yeah.
So explain to the people out there,
the listeners,
all the listeners, how we package this up so it benefits that owner, not only during the construction phase of their project, but how our data lives with them and gives them assurance that they can actually use this information to run their facility. Explain that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Because I am passionate about talking about this part of our product. But you know what? Dominick, this is the thing that amazes me. We'll go and we'll meet with DFW or something. And the person that can make the decision is so swayed by all of the other things, like all the shiny images, right? It boils down to one thing. Where's the data? Is it the organized data? Is it complete? Can I find it? Because can you find it? Can you find our data?
You can find it.
In 2 seconds. Everything's 2 clicks away. So I laugh. I got to tell this really fun story. So everything's 2 clicks away. So we're about speed, right? It's about speed. Everything is about speed. That's why our projects finish as much as 3 months ahead of schedule. One of our owners recognized $1 million in general condition money returned. I mean, it is the thing. It is the thing. But this is a fun story. So 2004, I grew up racing go-karts. Dominick was raised by Sicilian parents that had plastic on their furniture. And he didn't have life experiences like I did.
No.
He didn't take vacations.
Very few.
2, I think you said.
2.
Yeah. So anyway, I grew up my father was he followed the race circuit, USAC it was called. And so we ran around the country to these races. I rode in the back window of a car. His cooler was the trunk of the car with ice, no cooler, and Schlitz beer and a ring bologna and a Coke. And I experienced my life as a child like this. So in 2004, Dominick and I were watching the Daytona 500. And at this point, I mean, things were going okay. You were really stressed with your life because of your career. And anyway, so he said, you know what? I'm going to own a NASCAR race team. That's what you said.
That's what I said.
What happened?
We got a bite one night.
So in the 2004 inaugural, I can't say that word. 2005. You're a detail guy. 2005 inaugural. Did I say that right?
Yeah, FedEx.
Yeah. So our driver that we were bringing on our team got hired by Joe Gibbs Racing, FedEx. So we were in it's called the hot pits at the Daytona 500. The reason I say this is because in our lives and our business, we decided that you can be in the hot pit or you can be a spectator. And there's one thing that's keeping you from what's called the hot pit, which we didn't even know it was called a hot pit. We had hot pit passes, and it's a fence. And at the Daytona 500, there's a tunnel that goes under the track. There is a gate that goes from the spectators to the field. But we decided at that moment, standing next to Tony Stewart, that we were going to change the world, that we were going to decide that everything was possible. And we have.
We've done it.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Hey, high five.
Thanks for watching this week's episode, brought to you by MySmartPlans and Courage Coalition. For more information about our guest or other links, please see the description below. We'll see you next week on Rebuilding with Shelley Armato.